What's going on everybody, Samber here, welcome back to my channel. Now, in today's video, we're going to be working on that little island over there where the airport is, and we're going to try and fit in as many people as possible. It's going to be crowded, but let's get into it. As you guys have probably seen, this is what's on the other side of the airport island. And oddly enough, I have actually deleted this little town many times because I don't even know why I built it, but for some reason, every time I deleted it, it didn't save or something, and it just always stayed there. So you know what? It's gonna become really compact. And I know what you guys are gonna say. You're gonna be like, this is like Hong Kong. Because we're gonna have steep mountains in the background. We're gonna have high-rise buildings. It's going to look very, very Hong Kong-esque. And I feel like a lot of you are gonna say, well, put a little like monorail tram thing going through the middle, and maybe we can. I don't know, you guys let me know what you think. But yeah, I wasn't actually planning on doing a full-blown like town over here. I guess it's just an expansion of Safed, which is the biggest city on the other side of this waterway, but since it isn't really super accessible, that's why I didn't really build too much on it. But I guess now that we have the big highway connecting up to the airport, and we also have the ferry that goes there and connects to it anyway, so I thought, why not? And it could be fun to do anyway. I raise up the mountains because I wanted them to be quite high to mask how tall some of these buildings are going to be. If it was all flat and then we had really high buildings on an island, it kind of looks out of place. So by raising all the mountains like that, it helps blend it all in. I do use a variety of roads, so you'll notice I'm using the very small roads because since we don't have much space, you would expect them not to use bigger roads anyway. So smaller roads, they can still park on the sides, which is very important. But I do also use another type of road where it's actually a pathway, but you can actually still build on it, and cars can technically drive on it if they want to, but it's mainly for pedestrians, but it's really, really small as well. And I'm actually quite excited to use this seawall because it's actually more of a like side of the highway where it's really steep. You'd put those types of walls, but it actually works really well for a seawall as well because it doesn't look as big and like a hard structure as a normal seawall. And it is very wonky, which I quite like because this whole area over here, it's nothing fancy. It's just like a really compact area. They're just doing what they can, and I think having that seawall actually suits the area. You can see there, that's the smaller road that we'll be using. So it is just like the pathway that we use like in a park. I think that one is actually from the zoo, but I actually downloaded some kind of mod or asset that allows you to actually zone on it, and it is mainly for pedestrians like I said, but cars can drive on it, like emergency vehicles, dump trucks, those types of things. But I don't think just ordinary cars can drive on it, so that's why it's good for these type of compact areas, because then all the cars, they'll be funneled onto the main road there, which is the grayish one, and it just keeps all the cars in one spot. And I actually quite like that it's mostly a walkable city as well. And I don't know if I mentioned it already, but all of the buildings that were here originally, all of those were shops, and a lot of those shops didn't have enough buyers, so there's going to be a lot of residential in this area. Pretty much everything I put down is residential. I do put a few other commercial shops, but only like one or two, and there are a few offices as well. I do use the Malta style buildings on the bottom because they're really compact. There's lots of different sizes, shapes, so they can fit in really well with the really wonky, crazy, weird layout that we want to do for this. And then we're going to be using the Hong Kong style buildings, oddly enough, which is all of these really high, skinny buildings here which pop out. And again, those ones are also really good because they're small. There's lots of different shapes as well, so they're easy to put in, easy to just put all over the place, different angles, they fit in really easily. I don't think I'll necessarily like name this area something else. I think I'll just consume it into the Safed district. I do put like the, what's it called, their own district, just so we know what the population is. Now I want you guys to have a kind of, just have a little guess before we get to the end of the video. You can have a guess, how many people do you think move in here? I'll give you a clue. There ends up being almost 900 jobs, so whether or not that gives you any idea or not, but there is a lot of people that are going to live in here. So that's the kind of theme of the video. We're seeing how many people can we fit in this little space, and it really is not a big space. Like, we got those huge mountains in the background. Again, I'm just adjusting those just to make it all look a bit more cozy, make the mountains a little bit steeper so there's no room for growth up the side of the mountain. And over here, again, same type of thing. So we're going to be using our grayish roads and then also our little pathways, which we can zone on top of. I'm not sure if I show it in this video. I think I showed it right at the start of the video, but you might have missed it. So the connections for this area, I added in a new connection onto the highway that we built in the other video, but there's also the original road and bridge which connects up to the next island over, which is Basra Island, and then that road continues through Basra, through all the shops and areas, and then it goes underneath the highway on its own little bridge as well. So they have two different options. They have the fast one, which is the highway, or they have the old one, which is the dirt road, which goes through everything. So they do have the options to do whichever one they want. I'm not really forcing them to choose one or the other. They also have the ferry there as well, and then that's pretty much it. If you guys think I could add in some public transport in this one in the next video or whenever, but as for now, there's really not much over here. I do put down a school, a high school, clinic, I think police station. That's about it. There's really not any space for parks because I think it wouldn't make sense if we had a park. There's that little one there, but that's pretty much it. Although the goal of this video is to put in as many people as possible, I still wanted to make sure that it looked normal. I didn't want to just put in like 100 skyscrapers and it looks really out of place, because the surrounding areas aren't super dense either. So we have to make sure that it does fit in with the whole area. So I guess the real goal is to see how many people we can fit in to this little island while also making it look like it fits in with the area and making it look as realistic as possible. The buildings over at this end, they're pretty much just lower buildings, only like 3 or 4 levels maximum. All of the higher other buildings are kind of more towards the middle and the other end. I think by doing it like this, it slowly just makes its way back down into the shape of Basra Island, which is all lower style buildings. So we don't want to overdo it too much. Now, unfortunately, this always happens. The camera stopped recording, so you guys miss some of the end part where I put in all of the highest skyscraper buildings. But just to tell you guys, it ends up being around 13,000 people moving into this area. That's not at full capacity, that's at about 90% capacity. So there could be room for maybe 13, 14, 15,000 people on this tiny little island. So a lot of people in such a small space, and it actually looks really good. And I really love how chaotic, and just love seeing all the people walking around everywhere. It looks really cool. But anyway, I'll give you guys a nice look at everything, and I'll catch you guys next time.